G'day everyone, welcome back to another podcast. Pretty excited this week. We've got someone on that you will definitely know who it is. Now look, we're almost going to call, I'm going to call him the king of YouTube in the four-wheel drive space. Ooh. But look, if you don't know who he is, he'll introduce himself shortly. But we got the one and only Ronny Dahl, and I have sent you a few beers, mate. So cheers, welcome to Explore Yarns. There we go.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
Got the Larrys out. I've actually been looking forward to this all day.
So I've been on a sunshine coast, mate.
It looks a little bit like Berkey, if he had a beard. All right, well,
the mo's a bit small, though.
Yeah, I know. If it just had a massive mo, the rest of it's pretty bloody spot on. So, mate, look, we'll kick it off. If there's anyone that follows my channel that isn't following you, I don't imagine there'd be too many. But why don't you just give us a quick rundown on who you are and what you do, mate?
Right, so you already introduced my name, so g'day. Hey, I'm Ronnie. I'm that guy that keeps jumping into frame on the screen. That's something I'm stuck with on my YouTube videos, but
yeah,
you know, you get that. I have a YouTube channel which I started almost by accident, to be honest.
Yep. And
it's just progressed into what it is today. I think about 7 or 6 years it's been going now.
Okay.
And here we are. So it's all just tips, tricks. That's what it started with, how-to stuff. And then it went into adventure videos, and here we are today doing all kinds of other stuff as well.
Yeah, awesome. Well, look, we're going to get into absolutely everything today. I want to run through sort of, you know, how you managed to get everything started. Now, for anyone listening, you have obviously transitioned from a full-time steel fixing, I believe you were doing, into the full-time YouTuber role, which is something we're going to touch on. I'm sure that's something that people will be very interested in. We're going to talk all things cars. We'll probably touch on some camper trailers, and then, you know, we'll try and give everyone out there a few tips and tricks for being a full drive YouTuber and just that transition. But let's kick it off with where did the passion come from for full driving and that camping and adventure? Was it something that you grew up doing as a family, or where did all your passion for this come from?
I guess the outdoors is look, a bit of like childhood. So I'm originally I'm Danish Danish blood, so I'm from Denmark, and I was outdoors as much as I could be. I was part of the Scouts in my younger days. So learned quite a bit of hands-on stuff. But when I came to Australia, it's a bit of a long story. How many times I came backwards and forwards.
Yeah, okay.
But to spare the details, so in Australia, when I started heading up north and just looking, you know, when you're driving down a highway and you see all these roads off to your left and right, and you're always wondering where they go.
100%.
That's kind of what's inspired the whole sort of going out and just checking it out. But this had nothing to do with full drives at that stage. This was in a Falcon, an XD Falcon. 351 top loader, probably using about as much fuel as my current vehicle is.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yep.
So that's where it all started. Real basic stuff, you know, like esky with ice. You know the old gas bottles with that screw-on gas cooker.
Yeah, yep.
It just sits on top.
Side. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh no, I know what you're saying.
Like
yes, screw on top. Yep.
Yeah.
So the passion,
as basic as you can get.
You had the passion for exploring an adventure before the full drives came into it. So how long did you spend sort of camping out of your Falcon for?
Quite a number of years, because after the XD, I went to an XB Falcon, which was the mistake, the EB Falcon, sorry.
Yeah.
That thing didn't last too long. Anyway, that's about the same time I met my current missus, who's now my wife, obviously. But we did a lot of traveling, did a few fishing trips, and just note, I'm calling it fishing, not catching.
Yep.
We camped a lot out of that Falcon, and it took us down a lot of dirt roads, down a lot of corrugated roads as well. So it actually did us pretty well. And then from there, I transitioned into a dual cab work unit, a Ford Courier 2.4 litre.
Yeah, right.
And that gutless hunk of metal took us a lot of places.
What are you doing in Fords, mate? You should have at least had the old Commodore out there, not the Falcon.
No way, mate. No.
No, you're a Ford
See,
man, are
yeah, I was, and I've oh man, I don't know how many Fords I've owned. Probably at least 10, I'd say.
you? Yeah, right.
10, and probably about half of them are broken down.
Yeah, well, there's your problem.
That's just a Ford thing,
Yep.
mate. Commodore does the same thing.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I barrack for Commodore, but I've never, ever owned a Commodore. But I have owned
Well, can I just point?
a Holden.
Can I just point out that the Ford outlasted the old Commodore, mate.
Yeah.
The Falcons have outlasted the Commodores.
Yeah, they have, which is bloody disappointing, to be honest, but oh well. So, how many years ago are we talking that you and your missus were banging around in a Falcon through the bush and on corrugations?
15,
Yep.
15 years, and then that was with the missus, and then before that, 20 plus years, 25 years.
Yeah.
Look, it wasn't always in my Falcon. My mate, a couple of mates had a Lada Neva, believe it or not.
Yes, I
And
actually
also
love
the
the
old-
Lada Neva. I don't
Yeah,
know where my
that thing
passion...
was that. Yeah, go on.
I don't know where I went to Tough Truck one year, probably 8 years ago now, and someone had a fully kitted out Lava Neva as their comp truck, and it was bloody cool.
They're very nimble, eh? They're tiny as well.
Yeah.
And we had my mate's Lada Neva. His name was Mark, and we had it on like the old motorbike tracks
Yeah, yep.
with the whoop, the whoop-de-doos.
Yeah,
skipping up and
perfect.
down with those. That was a good fun.
So you got into the
But,
to the Ute, so you stepped up slightly from the Falcons into a Courier, and how long did that last?
So when we stepped it up into the Ford Courier, that's when I got my first taste of how to four-wheel drive, and that was going to a local place called Lancelin.
Yep.
So Lancelin Sand Dunes, long time ago. Drove onto the sand dunes. So we stayed at this caravan park, really run-down caravan park in Lancelin, and so we had a whole group of guys and a whole group of girls. So I took all the girls to the sand dunes first, and then the idea was to head back and pick up the boys. But I never made it back because I got super bogged, and this bloke in this big F250 rocks up, bails up next to me, and he goes, "What PSI are you running, mate?" And I'm like, "What's PSI?"
Yeah.
And he goes, Well, listen to young fella. You teach me how to get 4 girls in your car, in my car, and I'll teach you how to lower your tyres."
That's
So that was
that's
my
not a
first
fair
taste
trade,
of,
I don't think.
No, but yeah. So since then, mate, lowering your tyres was the best advice that I ever, and the first advice I ever got given when it came to four-wheeling.
You caught the bug. You caught the bug.
Caught the bug. Already had the bug, but for really driving on soft sand and stuff, that's when I really learned, and that's when I learned the capability of the vehicle being able to drive up and down dunes instead of getting stuck all the time. That's when it turned quite a few pages for me.
So, did you have any inspiration wanting to get into the YouTube space? Was there anyone that you were following on social or YouTube, and you went, you know what, I actually might start putting some of my own 2 cents to this, or how did it sort of come about that you decided to put a video on YouTube?
Okay, that's a really bloody good question. So it kind of happened in a number of ways here. My passion for photography and videography, we'll have to touch on that later so you understand this answer better. But when I finally learned how to full drive properly, I sought a bit of advice on YouTube, as you do for a lot of things. How do you operate this? What's the best way to operate this tool and stuff like that? You look on YouTube, if you get a lot of information. I did the same with full driving, but I got Andrew St. Pierre White, ASW, that fella taught me a lot of stuff from his videos because he did a lot of how-to and stuff early on. At that stage, I'd never even heard of full drive action that everyone hears about. I'd never heard of anyone else. I just basically watched Andrew St. Pierre White. That was it. And then kind of went and did my own thing. And back then, there was no one really on YouTube apart from a couple of videos from Andrew St. Pierre White and maybe a couple of American dudes.
So how many years ago?
I was a bit about 7 years. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more actually. 8 years.
2012-ish.
Yeah, actually 2011. Sorry. Okay. That's when I that's when I first started looking at uploading. And what I uploaded was just driving through a deep river crossing, going up a cool hill, going up a sand dune. That's all I did, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, people started asking questions. And then when I bought the 70 series and I started taking that out, people really asked a lot of questions because that was early days. People didn't know how to, what best mods were and all this. And people asked me what I did. So that's where I just sort of revealed that this is what I've done. I've done this offset wheels on the back. And from there, that's where it really took off. All the questions about the vehicle.
The Courier straight into the 79?
No, from the Courier, I went into a Hilux for 7 years.
7 years.
So
okay,
I was in an extra cab Hilux for about 7 years. The
Yep.
first 2 years, it was fairly stock standard, and then the last 5 years, it really got a lot of changes happened to it.
So the YouTube channel
fully kitted
started
out.
with the Hilux, and then obviously you transition into the 70 series.
Yeah, once I transitioned into the 70 series, it really took a bit of a spike, and that's where a lot of questions came in. That's when I started answering them, and it's just snowballed into what it is today, more or less.
Yep. No, well, that's very cool. Obviously, what year did you buy your 70 series?
2013.
Yeah.
2013.
So pretty early on. So I guess after 2013, the 70 series just become this ultimate four-wheel drive that you sort of had to have almost. And I guess, you being someone out on YouTube having one, there would have been a lot of questions about tyre sizing. How do you fix the wheel track? Why are they such a bucket of shit?
Totally, mate. Totally. Yeah, that's kind of where all that started. It's funny though, because that 70 series, that V8 had been out for quite some time before this, but they only just released the dual cab.
Yes, that's right.
That's what caught my attention, because I had a growing family, so a single cab was no good for me. The wagon was too small.
Yeah.
And then when I saw that, it was like, yeah, I've got to get this. This is what I want. And yeah, thankfully, steel fixing pays a lot of money.
Yeah, perfect. Well, while we're on the topic of how it's all come about, let's just continue through and finish telling that story of. So you got the 70 series. It started to really pick up a little bit of traction. At what point did you go, well, hang on a minute here, I might be able to get off the decks and stop bloody throwing steel around and actually be a full-time content creator?
Wow, that is actually quite interesting. I'm thinking back now. So at the time, I never intended to do what I'm doing today. So what I really wanted to do was to do tag-along tours and then sort of phase out steel fixing and just do tag-along tours and build that website, because the website was doing really well. But there was no money in it, but it was doing really well. But that combined with tag-along tours, it was enough to survive on. But it was a massive pay cut from steel fixing.
What year did you start running? What year did you start running tours?
Tours we started running in 2014, I believe, or 2015, around there. It took quite a while to get all the paperwork through. It's a lot easier nowadays, but back then there was a lot you had to do, a lot of hoops you had to jump through. So
that's something that I wasn't really 100% aware of. I kind of come across your content a little bit later on than perhaps maybe other people. Probably because I wasn't a big YouTube watcher, to be honest. It's something that I sort of caught on quite late to the whole YouTube thing. When I even started creating my content, it was never meant to be for YouTube. So once I decided, or maybe it should get on YouTube, I think that's when I sort of come across you. But it is interesting that you went down the tour path. So let's talk just a little bit more about that and what the tours were. Where'd you go? How many people do you take? And do you still do them today?
I do still run them today. There's only one that I do, and that is the biggest one and the best one. That one I still do, and it's like it's not for the money. It's more to hang out with people and learn quite a few things as well.
Yep.
Because you'll be surprised when you head out on a trip and you have absolute beginners. Like, this is the first time I've ever been off road.
Yep.
You'll be surprised what you'll learn from them, because they do stuff outside the box, right? Outside the norm, and you get some really good ideas. But it's more to hang out with people who have a like-minded sort of. They're all there for the same thing. We're all there to camp. We're all there to hang out. We're all there to hit the bush.
Yeah.
And it's very, very seldom you get someone that doesn't quite fit in, and that's what I like about it. You never have to worry about it, so you're always going to get along.
Yep.
And plus, I enjoy teaching people stuff. Like, you get a good feeling out of providing stuff for people that they didn't expect, and then they paid to go on a trip, but they also learned so much, and then you learn stuff of them as well. So
awesome. Yeah. So let's keep talking through the story. You started running a few trips on the side, and that's what gave you the confidence to transition?
No, the videos were there the whole time. It was easier for me to do it in a video and explain it rather than write it in text form. And my writing skills and my English isn't the best, right? Because going back, like, parents moved town to town, country to country, so English was my second language at that time. So, but video is a lot easier to explain things, and you can show people stuff. And from there, it's just turn into this. So photography has always been a passion of mine, and then that's gone into video, although photography is still my number one thing that I love to do.
Yeah, cool. So where was that tipping point where you actually decided, hey, look, I'm going to throw in the towel and not be a steel fixer anymore? Because one thing we didn't touch on, but you were running your own steel fixing company at the time. Is that right?
Yeah. Running my own steel fixing company, co-running a website, running tag-along tours, and then doing YouTube videos at the same time.
And trying to keep a missus.
Like, trying to keep the missus happy at the same time. With 2 kids as well. Yeah, right. Man, it's been a hectic ride, I got to say, but I wouldn't do anything different. Like, I have to keep myself busy. Yeah. If I'm not busy, I have to be flat out. And the only way to do what I'm doing is just to be a workaholic, basically. That's it's not a word I like, but that's
it's a lot more effort than people definitely would consider.
110%. Definitely.
So
but
I'm going to just label myself as a lazy YouTuber because I don't do my own editing. And like, I get to pick on myself, so it's all right. But I know how much time you would spend editing, and you do your own filming, your own editing, and it just is crazy and next level. And I don't think anyone out there at the moment in our space is even coming close to the amount of hours and time and effort that you would be putting in to create content for the audience. So I definitely take my hat off to you for that. And I don't think anyone's coming close to your work ethic in the space. That's for sure.
Yeah, it is pretty intense when, especially when people like yourself point it out. It's, but, it does come at a sacrifice as well. So I don't get a lot of sleep, to be honest, but I sleep maybe 5 to 6 hours a day. Get up early, drop the kids off school, go home, edit as much as I can. But look, this COVID-19, as weird as it is, it's kind of, because I can't go out as much, I've been able to do more at home. So it's almost bought me more time, which is weird.
Mate, I
but
completely
obviously
agree.
It's not great.
Well, no, it's not great, but at the same time, for me, it's probably been one of the best things that's happened to us as a company, that we've been able to sort of take a step back, realign, and make sure we're chasing the goals that we originally set out to chase. And we've actually been able to bring, I think, a lot more content and value to my audience through COVID by getting creative and doing the smaller build videos, kicking off this podcast. And I'm very lucky that I had a 6-week trip from last year that I hadn't released yet. So that's definitely been a little bit of a godsend that I've been able to trickle that out. So very lucky in that aspect.
Yeah, that definitely helps. So I've noticed you've been pretty consistent with your videos lately.
Yeah,
It's
mate.
good to see, mate.
We've had a huge step up. So I've taken a leaf out of your book, and we've sort of gone from, realistically last year we were 1 a month, 2 a month if we were lucky, 3 was a big month for us, and now we will consistently hit two a week, and every couple of weeks we're dropping a third in, just because for the first time ever I actually have. I'm not going to say too much content, but I have enough content that I can now book out a few months and consistently release twice a week, which I'm absolutely stoked about.
Yeah, it's a good position to be in because, as you know yourself, if you have a trip coming up, you got all this work you got to do before you head off to buy yourself that time. And look, for me, a 4-week trip is out of the question for 2 reasons. One, it's too much stress to keep up with the content because I try and do too much. And 2, the missus won't be too happy because she's got to deal with the young ones.
What's your upload schedule like? How many a week are you doing?
Look, I've been pretty easy on myself lately. So my system works Sunday. It has to be a video that people will get something out of, whether it's entertainment or they learn something. It has to be worthy of a Sunday. Okay. And also, I don't want to miss a Sunday. I haven't missed a Sunday for nearly 3 years.
Yeah, that's epic.
Friday. Yeah, I get a bit anxious sometimes if I'm not quite ready for that Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss it, mate.
I bet. Yeah, that's cool.
Fridays, similar to Sunday, but it can be a little bit lesser. It's still going to be up there to justify the release. And Wednesdays, they're just more like just an update video. But look, two a week, I think is good. Like what you're doing at the moment, like you got your quality one coming out that a lot of the effort's gone into. That's I can't remember what day is it Sunday night you release?
Well, my premium episode comes out on the last Sunday of every month. Now, we just missed the last one because while COVID was on, I dropped 2 consecutively because I didn't really know what was going on with this, and I thought, well, everyone's at home, we'll drop because it was a 2-parter. We'll drop one week, one the next, just to keep the momentum flowing. And I guess back then we didn't really predict it would be sort of locked down for this long. But my premium stuff is normally once a month on a Sunday. At the moment, we're releasing our podcasts every Sunday, and we've got our vlog, which has been the Northern Territory WA trips, on Thursdays. And we're up to about part 14 with that vlog series. They're a little bit shorter. They're only about the 15-minute mark. So they've been awesome. And I really enjoy doing the more vlog style content than almost our premium, take the film cruise. I think I get to show off a little bit more personality of myself and who we're with in the vlog style content. It is a little bit more laid back. And I think the audience is sort of starting to see that as well. So that's always good.
It's also a lot cheaper to make, isn't it? You have to take the film crew and stuff out.
Yes, mate. I get to leave a whole vehicle and a team of 3 at home, and it's just me drinking beers and throwing a GoPro up. It's a lot cheaper, yes.
I know the cost involved of what you put into your production because recently I've started to bring a small film crew with me as well, and it's the cost goes up, but
crazy.
It is easier to make the content. You can get some really, really cool shots and you can really tell the story how you really want to tell it because a lot of the time we're just stuffed by the end of the day.
Yeah,
and
100%.
It gets a bit hard.
That last trip I did in through the NTWA that we're releasing at the moment, that vlog series. Excuse me. Cheers, Larry. I actually what were you on the road for? 6 straight weeks. So. No, 8 weeks. So I had 2 weeks at Lorella Springs with my film crew, and I left there. I think I had 1 day off, and then I vlogged every day for 6 weeks, except I had 2 days off at Lake Argyle, where I decided not to actually vlog it, which I now regret because Lake Argyle is out of control. But yeah, so every day for 6 weeks up filming recharge all the cameras, dump all the gear, and I'm shocked at the amount of content I actually got out of it. I didn't think I had that much, but luckily I did manage to capture it, and it's cool to look back on as well, which is always handy. But we do keep getting sidetracked. Yeah. Where was the point? When did you transition and go, I'm quitting steel fixing, I'm giving away the steel fixing company, and I'm gonna go all in?
Yeah, we have been dancing around it, haven't we? I think when I reached 60,000 subscribers, I sold half of one business. I had 2 steel fixing businesses.
Okay.
Sold one of them. My main one I kept going, but I let most of my guys go.
Yep.
I set them up with other jobs. I didn't just cut them loose and go. That was probably what slowed me down, because I didn't want to just leave people high and dry just because I wanted to pursue something else. Like, I had people feeding families working for me, so that's why it took a bit longer than what I thought. But slowly went down to just 2 blokes working for me, and we were just smashing out house slabs and instead of commercial stuff, and making some good money there. But got out of that, and now I'm earning about 25% of what I used to, but I'm not complaining. It's fun.
No, that's it. You definitely, you say you quit at 60,000 subscribers. I think I quit my job at, geez, I'd love to know. Probably none. Like maybe 4,000 subs, and I was like, I quit because of how I've structured it slightly different to you, in the way that we've done things, but that's interesting. I'm not even at 60,000 subs yet, so I find that pretty interesting.
No, it won't take you long. You're already at nearly 40, so
now we're releasing consistent content. The growth has been consistent, to say the least, instead of sort of peaking and spiking with that sort of 1 video a month. Consistency is obviously key for any other YouTubers out there. I'd love to, we'll get into some of your tips on YouTube, but consistency would have to be one of the biggest tips for starting a YouTube channel.
100%. 100%. Same time, same day, same Batmobile, same channel.
Yeah.
You got to be consistent, so people know where to find you when they come back. It's like TV.
Yeah.
If a show's on at, the news is on at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So people know to tune on at 6 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Same with like any other show they want to see.
So let's go into the YouTube in depth, and let's talk a little bit about tips and tricks, and let's run through some of the gear that you use as well. So I guess, there's probably quite a few YouTubers that are watching us, and I've done this chat with Sam Isles as well, which is was extremely interesting. So I always like to get your opinion on it as well. I'm still only been 2 years. 2 years in July is as long as we've been actually creating proper content for YouTube. So we're definitely new to the space, and next year, by the sounds of it, you're pushing on 10 years, which is pretty epic. So what are your sort of main tips and tricks for any new YouTuber that's deciding to have a crack? Okay,
so I'm prepared for this because I watched the Sam Isles one last night just to refresh, just to know what. I cheated.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna talk.
He's got the gear. Look out.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this I don't use much anymore. But if I was going to do like a vlog style, like you've done with your Kimberley trip,
yes,
this is what I'd use, and this is from a lot of practice. Okay. So the problem with these GoPros is the audio is shit on these.
Yep.
GoPro, crap audio.
Yep.
This doesn't need a gimbal. It's super stable. It's a GoPro 7. Yep. Now these mics, you need one of these. But what I've done, I've come up with this clever idea of splitting them left and right audio.
Yep.
And then you got one facing backwards, one facing forwards. And then that way, when I'm interviewing someone, it's going to pick up my audio and the other person's audio. Because the problem is, if you only have one mic, it's only picking up the sound mainly who's talking at the direction of the microphone.
Yep. Which is still
and then
one
you
of
got
the
to muck
biggest
around the
problems
audio.
that I have, because I haven't got that fancy yet where you have, because essentially that last trip was my first vlog, and I just have the one Rode mini mic on top. And if I ask someone a question, you get the poor audio because I'm standing behind the mic. So that is very cool.
Yeah. So, and also with this tripod here, you can attach it to a tree, a branch, or on the ground. So if I head out with the kids and the kids want to do something, this is the camera I give them. Or if I'm heading out on my own, then that's what I'll use. It's just so much easier, because sometimes the content is better than the quality of it if you don't have the means of using big cameras and whatnot.
Yeah, and that's something that I think me and Sam both agreed on, and I'll get your opinion. So for someone that's starting out from absolute scratch, and he goes, all right, I want to be a YouTuber, want to start creating content, what's the camera equipment that you would recommend?
Okay, so GoPro first up, and then a second camera, a second GoPro. You can do 2 different angles. Learn that first, but before you even think about cameras, think about why you're doing it. Like, you have to enjoy doing it. If you don't enjoy doing it, people will see right through it. Like, people can see that you're just there just to do it. So you need to want to do it. It needs to be your passion. So, for instance, if you're going to do a channel about something you're not passionate about, don't even bother, because it's not going to go anywhere, and you're not going to have fun, because you need to be able to be yourself. And that's the other thing. Be yourself. If you can't be yourself, you can't keep up the fakeness for too long.
100%.
It's
too hard.
No. Yeah, you need to be like a Hollywood actor to be able to do that. To be able to keep up something fake the whole time.
You're pumping out 2 videos a week, editing, filming. If you don't have the passion for it, you're never gonna last. And everyone can see through organicness and the people that are out there trying to put on a bit of a show to maybe grab a quick buck or something like that. And one thing me and Sam touched on was niches, and the fact that we all sort of have our own niches. And I think the niche that you obviously excelled in was probably the more educational, the tips, the tricks, the how-to. That's obviously was your foundation, where the YouTube channel came from. And from there, obviously the passion of yours is just getting out and exploring. So that's where some of the bigger trips have come from as well.
Yeah, definitely. So the trips are there more. They started more as memories for myself and my mates who headed out with me. But they also serve purpose of credibility for experience. So when I'm talking about something, I have all this credible footage I can throw on. And there's a lot of times I don't record, but my story now has credibility because I have proof, and then people trust me more, and they know that what I'm saying is not total BS.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I think that's something that I almost did subconsciously without knowing. When we kicked off, I didn't have any credibility. No one's seen me on camera or do anything. And even though I'd done a couple of big trips before Explore started, up through Cape York twice, down to, we've crossed the Simpson Desert. We've done these little bits and pieces. That's why we decided in our first full series, we went all the way down to Tassie. We went all the way up to Northern Territory. We did the high country. We sort of ticked off a few of those big bucket list trips. We did Cape York. And I think like you said, I've never really looked at it like that, but it does give you that little bit of credibility that you've spent enough time out there doing different terrains through different conditions, and it does give you the ability to actually perhaps pass your advice on, rather than running up the beach at DI every second weekend and trying to tell people what to do. Yeah,
totally. And look, if you still have photos from back then, that's also another good thing to throw in sometimes when you're talking about things. So,
mate, we put a photo up of me and Berkey, and I'll throw it up in here. It's an absolute pisser. We were about 19, and it's me and Berkey stood at Cape York at the sign, and he got a few comments when we posted on Instagram. But I'll throw that in here. That was my first real trip that I was that gave me the touring bug. You know what I mean? Other than the 4Drive bug, the actual proper I want to tour Australia style bug.
So that was your first trip, eh? Cape York?
That was my first big trip. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
5 weeks.
How old are you now?
30.
How old are you now? 30?
30. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think I
Mate, I thought you were younger than 30.
Yeah, I think everyone does. I think everyone just goes, you know, I can probably get away with 25, and when people find out I'm 30 and they're like, oh, okay, so you actually, you know, have been out wheeling for the last 13 years. Like as soon as I got my license, it was basically a full drive and away I went. So, yeah, no, I am.
Mate,
I'm 31 actually in 2 weeks, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm 41 in 2 days.
Oh, are ya? May. There you go. Happy birthday.
Yeah,
so
thanks, mate.
We'll get back onto the tips and tricks. So we've talked about the camera gear. Obviously, GoPros are definitely the you know, for a point and shoot camera, grab, turn it on, turn it off. Very limited skills. Not having to adjust things on the camera. That's really the level I'm still at. I don't run around with the bigger cameras. I do have a Canon EOS R for my photography, which is something that that passion's grown immensely over the last couple years. I bought it before we did the Northern Territory trip because I really wanted to be able to grab some quality images because I was going to be at such amazing places. And it's definitely one of the best things I've ever done. I still don't really use it to vlog. I'm always on the go so hard and fast that I love the GoPro because it's so easy and simple. That and a drone.
GoPros are awesome, except for when they have a bit of a spasm, eh?
Yeah.
The old GoPro spasm, you got to pull the battery out. Oh my god!
Especially with the mics, right? So anyone that's going to start running those mics, that really does start playing up a little bit.
Yeah, there's one thing they haven't fixed yet. So on the GoPro, you know that button at the top where you can it's off and you can activate it. You press it, one touch, and it turns on.
Yep.
Automatically and records.
Yep.
Yeah. If you got an external mic, it doesn't work with a mic.
Do not use that top button.
No, don't.
It. So if you're listening and you decide to go and grab a GoPro and you want to up your audio quality and you put the external mic on the top, make sure you always turn the camera on at the side first, then on off. It sounds simple, but trust me, makes a big difference, right? Huge difference.
Totally.
What
make sure you put a dead cat on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That also makes a bit... Look, I think people sometimes underestimate how much audio can change a video.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. If you can't hear what's going on...
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how good the footage is.
Exactly. Sometimes audio is more important than the actual video quality. Because if you can't hear what's going on, you have no idea.
You lose the context of the story.
GoPros for the initial startups, and obviously a quick drone. What drone do you use while we're on the subject?
What drone have I got left now? Mavic Air's the only one I got left now. So I used to have the DJI Phantom 2 Vision Vision Plus, Vision 2 Pro 2 Plus Vision, whatever. Yep. That had the first camera attached to it. That I crashed. Yep. And then I went to the Phantom 3 Pro. Yep. I've used that for so long now, but it's starting to play up a bit. So my backup is the Mavic Air.
Okay.
Not very good.
Yeah.
But my cameraman at the moment, he's got the Mavic 2 Pro. So I'm waiting for the 3 to come out, and I'll probably get that. So we got a backup because he lost his last one.
He's pretty epic.
Yeah. Mavic 2 Pro.
Yeah. So that would probably
especially for that size.
Oh, mate, if you're on the road, traveling, touring, like I've never had a Phantom because they're just too... I had a 76, right? So you can't fit a Phantom in the bloody thing. So I went with I've got the Mavic Pro, and then my film crew have the Pro 2. And yeah, I think for anyone out there, if you've got the budget, well then, in saying that, my advice is if you're looking at getting into drones, grab a second-hand Mavic Pro, learn how to fly, because you will crash it. It's inevitable.
Yeah, you'll probably crash if you're not too careful. I still get the shakes if I'm flying over the ocean. Like as soon as I'm over the ocean, hands start to do this, and you're like, stop it. We got to give it a smooth shot.
Yeah, right. That's cool. And then obviously we've touched on passion, so that's probably your other tip is you just have to have a passion. And you probably get asked far more than I do, being a bigger YouTuber, but a lot of people want to know, like, you know, where do I start or what do I do? And I think it is important that you do just follow what comes naturally and what you are passionate about, because it's something, if you're passionate about it, you can talk about it all day long, which we obviously can. We've sat down and had many a beer at a full drive show, and we can dribble and drink beers till the cows come home. And I think if you don't have that love for it, then you just pretty much, you will not survive. You will not be 9 years later still creating YouTube videos and sleeping 6 hours a night.
Exactly. It wouldn't be worth the effort.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with the niche thing, that is very important as well. That you brought up earlier. That is super important. And never, ever, ever try and be like someone else. That is the worst thing you can do, because you are always going to be the shadow. Yep. So you need to find something that's different. Yep. Like it needs to be different style, different vehicle, different, just, look, to be honest, in the full drive world, there's you have to be very creative to be different nowadays, because I think almost every single style is already out there.
Yeah.
I think even the caravan gaps are sort of
starting to
really closing in as well.
Yep.
So I think if you're going to do anything, it has to be like something like a paragliding and four-wheel drive. Use the car to get there. It's got to be like, I'd like to see more of that we are lacking, and that is hiking stuff, like proper Australian remote survival hiking. That's what I would love to see.
Well, look, I'm not a massive hiker, but as far as doing a little bit more remote survival stuff, obviously you had Nav come on one of your episodes, and Nav came on one of our recent episodes. And, mate, basically as soon as COVID is over, I will be jumping up with Nav. And for anyone that doesn't know, Nav on Instagram is the Australian Cowboy. Go check him out. He's an absolute larrikin. But, we're going to do a little bit more together in that sort of survival technique space, purely because I'm actually super interested and fascinated by it. Believe it or not, I'm actually learning how to ride a horse at the moment, so that I can get up there in WA, jump on horseback. It's something that's just completely different, and get out there and sort of, do something that hasn't been done too much. But I guess that's why when we talk about niches, we've sort of rebranded as the Explore Life rather than Explore 4x4. And I don't know if it will have happened by the time this comes out, but we're even going to change the Instagram name to the Explore Life rather than Explore 4x4. The YouTube series has already changed, but for me, I found exactly that the passion wasn't just four-wheel driving, it's everything else that I enjoy doing. And for me, if I was to just four-wheel drive day in, day out as the series, I will get a bit over it and a bit worn out, which is why we've brought the boating in. And now I'm bloody learning how to ride a horse. But it's new challenges, right? It's new challenges, something that I am absolutely shit house at. And I like to sort of bring a new challenge into the series and push ourselves a little bit more and do some things that are slightly different.
Different things are awesome. It's just so hilarious though when, for example, I experimented with a boat on my channel. Oh my God! Like about 10% of people lost their head.
Didn't like you boating. Just didn't like it, or they loved it.
No, they just like, nah, boating channel. I'm out of here. I even had some people from Patreon leave as well because of the boat. Like,
really,
you get this exit survey. People can comment, like usually its financial situation has changed, or I was only here to support for a limited time, etc., etc. But there were people. I don't like the direction of the channel. There's a boat involved, so I'm out of here.
Wow.
And all it was just trying out a boat for a couple of trips, and I couldn't believe how much like it's only like 10% of people, right? But
Yes.
the amount of frustration and hate from that 10% people was incredible. I was wow, this is interesting,
Yeah.
and you're always going to get that. So when you rebrand, you are going to just expect the same thing to happen. People are going to flip out, but don't even worry about it. Just keep on going. Just keep on trucking, because you'll find that nothing's going to change. You're not going to lose subscribers or any of that. You're probably going to gain, if anything, because you're expanding your horizon.
Yeah, you may lose a couple, but then you pick up that other demographic in that case, in that sense. Then.
Yeah, and the ones you lose, they probably didn't want to be there anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But you know, it's a funny world. It's free to watch, but some people love to complain about free content.
Mate, let's get into that. I want to touch on this very quickly. And obviously, a lot of people are structured differently, but let's touch on a bit of the hate when we're out there busting our ass day in, day out to create free content for people. And for everyone watching, remember, it's free. We don't need to be sat down here. You know, we love it, and that's why we do it, and that's where the passion comes from. But sponsors, I released a video the other day, and one thing I love about your content, Ronnie, is that you've come out and you've been organic from day one. And you know, you've basically spent about 8 years, more or less, correct me if I'm wrong here too, but more or less monetarily sponsored by companies, almost to keep your authenticity.
Correct. So, my credibility has taken a very long time to build. And look, although right now, I am working with one company. I'm ambassador for Engel Fridges.
Yep.
The only reason why I am doing this is because I do believe in that product.
Yep.
So that is one thing. People will know straight away if I'm being paid by another company. I've never used this stuff before, and I start putting it in my videos and I start talking good stuff about it. You are going to know that it is absolute BS, and that is not what I'm going to do, because that will destroy all credibility I've built over 8 years or whatever it is. So I am changing my structure a little bit, because I now have a camera crew who are helping me out immensely.
Which brings a massive cost.
It does, and also I like to support Torben a lot more as well, because he does a lot for the channel.
Absolute legend. I'll just throw that in there.
Yeah, he's not too bad. No.
I like
Torb's
Torbs.
a good bloke.
We get along really well.
Yeah.
I like Torbs. He's a legend.
Yeah. He's a funny fella.
Obviously, you know, you have the Patreon, I think, and the side tips. We're not going to go too deep into, you know, how we fund everything, but I do just want to touch on it slightly. So obviously you have the Patreon, which is awesome that you have a group of supporters that get in monthly, obviously, and back you. And for anyone that doesn't know, you can get over and support Ronnie with his sleep-deprived habit of creating a ridiculous amount of YouTube content by jumping over to Patreon. And, you know, there's obviously different levels there of structure that you can pay monthly, and you have a X amount of bonuses depending on what level you're on. And then so you had your side gig, which was, I guess, the tours, which probably brought in some amount of cash, I'd imagine.
The tours didn't pay anything, to be honest.
Okay.
Honestly, it paid for the fuel and the food, and paid for the insurance, and paid for, you know, merch, website costs, stuff like that. Me and the old boy, we put 10 grand into the business at the beginning. 10 grand each, and we still have 9 grand each invested into the business. So at one point we took $1,000 out, and that was about it.
Well done.
So that's, you know, we just keep cycling it in there to keep it on. It doesn't make much money at all. But look, without Patreon, I would not be doing this to this level right now. Like I'm in my studio now.
In your
and
own
that's
shed,
thanks to
which is bloody cool.
And that's thanks to Patreon. And look, Caltex for the last year have helped us out a lot as well. Now, just to answer people, because people always ask me, it wasn't free unlimited fuel. It was a certain set. There was a set amount of fuel that really bloody well helped, but we still actually had to purchase fuel as well. So, and and then Engel, doing a little bit with Engel at the moment, but it just helps pay the bills, and I'm happy to do it because it's a product I believe in. I would never go to another company, like say if another company offered me more money for their fridges, I'll be like, mate, I don't even know what your product is. I'm a very loyal person as well, so
and I think that's what I want to touch on specifically. And I obviously love the fact that was your approach, and the way I structured when we started was I didn't want to come out with because I sucked at filming and editing, right? So I wanted to release at a certain level with my content, which obviously costs a lot of money. And then when you're going to put it onto YouTube, that's completely free. You need to be able to fund it, because it did get to a certain level really quickly where the amount of time and effort that it takes to even just put together a 1 a month series was out of control. So I obviously needed to bring some income in somewhere. I don't have a Patreon account, and I guess that's the way I've done it, slightly different to you. Now, there's no correct way or right way. I think we're just touching on this because people always ask, and it's interesting to know, I guess some of the different ways that you possibly can do it. So I've always sort of tried to align with companies that I believe in, and essentially, I released a video the other week and people are having a dig, it's not an accurate review, you're just doing an ad. Now, to all of those people out there that are sitting down watching our content for free, if you go back and look at my previous trucks, and this is the only way that I can bring credibility to my channel, is if you go look at my D22 that I took to Cape York nearly 10 years ago, it has every modification, probably not quite as sophisticated, but it has every modification that I now run on my current vehicle. So that's where I like to think that I get some sort of credibility in the fact that, I've been running these products for the last 10 years. And when I decide I'm going to align with a sponsor, I want to be with them for another 10 years. And I've previously run their products for about 10 years, which is why I run the ARB gear, the Red Arc products. BFG, for an example, it took me 4 years to get BFG, and I was knocking back pretty decent deals with competitor companies that were going to put a lot of money into my bank. Well, not a lot of money, but in terms of trying to live and put food on the table, it's a lot of money. And, I'm out there buying BFG tires, waiting. And then this year, BFG have finally come on board as a sponsor. And, patience, I think, is key. And, I got to go over to Dakar Rally, and that's probably been one of the best experiences I've ever bloody had, to be honest. So my advice, I think, is if you are going to align with sponsors, if you want longevity in this game, you have to really believe in the product. Otherwise, I don't think you'll last.
Yeah, totally agree. It's a bit of a minefield, really, if you're going to play games. Like, you can see some people, they're jumping from one thing to another thing to another thing. I'm not going to mention any names at all, but no. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That loses all credibility, but diehard followers don't care. They are going to buy it, no matter what.
Yeah, correct.
But what I do want to point out is, look, I'm just going to bring up 4Drive Action into this.
Righto.
4Drive Action, what they do and what the presenters do is the norm. I've got no issue with the way they're doing it.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that's how they do it. And they got a bloody good thing going. They got, it's a machine. And to produce the quality that they do, this is how they do it. These guys are presenters. They're professional presenters.
Yeah.
And I can see why people will pay a lot of money to have those boys, or those blokes, not boys, blokes talk about the gear. They know their stuff, and it's what they do, and they do it really bloody well. So I just want to clarify that, so people don't think that I'm having a shot at presenters. I'm not having a shot at presenters at all.
It's a different structure. once again, it's a different structure, right?
There's no right, there's no wrongs, but people just need to be aware.
Yep.
If you do follow a presenter and you do take their word, just always look at the trucks that they personally own, and that's where you'll see what they really want on their truck.
Spot on. And I think that's where I wasn't even going to get into this really, but I think it is important that people do understand the difference between a presenter who work for perhaps a big company with X amount of backing, and then to someone like ourselves that are trying to self-fund and create this. So, I basically sold. I was a project. Well, ended up being project manager, but I was doing I was plumbing for 10 years, and so I was obviously earning reasonably good coin on EBA rates, and got a couple of properties to fund where I am today. I basically sold everything I had. I rent in a share house now, and I've put everything in to get to the point where I am now. So it does get frustrating when people try and call you out and say that you're running an ad. And it'll take time, and ideally over the next 10 years when I'm still running the same sponsors, which is what I intend to do because they're the products I believe in, that obviously that will shut a lot of people up. But when you do see what other people do, where 1 week it's one company, 1 week it's the next company, it is, I guess it's easy to then sit there and think that perhaps we're doing that as well, but just takes time in the game, I think, skin in the game.
It's the same thing with everything in it. It's the minority set the precedent for the majority kind of thing. That, like, the expectation, like what people see. It's like say, for instance, the greenies. They will see all this. All they'll see is all the bad stuff that happens out in the bush, stuff left behind, and stuff like that. But really, it's only like 1 to 5% of the full drive population. But we all wear that label because of that, and that's just the way I look at it. But that's the way it is, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, look, we won't spend too long on it, but I think maybe if you are watching different shows out there, just try and do your best to think before you react on a YouTube video, and whether it's coming from an organic, genuine place or whether it's coming from paid promotion. And you can see through it real quick, when the next week...
You're always going to get that no matter what. Like, I even cop it sometimes, and it's something like I don't have any affiliation with, or I'm not even being paid, and people are like, oh, you shouldn't trust this guy. He's
full of it.
He's a sellout,
Yeah,
and when I see these things, I'm just like, no.
I love it. You're a sellout, Ronnie.
Haters will hate.
You're creating free content for everyone. You sell out. What's wrong with you?
I need to have a good look at myself, eh?
Yeah. No, look, I think for my viewers as well, one thing, I don't have a Patreon account because, if I can sort of fund it from some of the awesome companies that I do work with, then, I don't have to charge my viewers to watch my content. Not that you charge viewers, they choose to pay for obviously different experiences, but that's something that, I would like to try and keep free. And if I can have perhaps some of the bigger corporate guys that are earning some bigger bucks fund me in products that I truly believe in, and and I've run on my vehicles for the last 10 years, that's sort of the way that I've decided to do it. And like we said, there's no wrong or right way, but it is interesting to see different setups for maybe anyone that's thinking about having a crack.
Cheers to that.
Absolutely. All right, well, we're not going to get bogged down on this, but we took a bit of a tangent there. Let's talk about
rabbit hole.
Yeah, that was a rabbit hole. That can get real deep. We won't go any further down that one, but let's talk about your favourite trip that you've ever done.
Oh, mate, seriously.
One. You've got to pick one. The one trip that when you're bloody old and 85 years old and you're talking to your grandkids, you go, well, one day I did this.
Honestly, it'll have to be a trip with the fam.
Yep.
It'll be a trip with the family. It's only about 600 k's from Perth down Bremer Bay. We had a wicked time. Just being on a semi-remote beach. They're remote beaches because it's like a dead-end road that goes down and not many people go there. Everyone goes to Esperance instead of Bremer Bay.
Yeah, right.
And please, everyone, just keep doing that because Bremer Bay's wicked.
Yeah.
And just spending all these days on the beach and then just watching, the kids end up with like surfer dudes' hairs, like their hair's just all messy, but they're having fun. They're smiling. They're sunbaked. They're loving it. Marshmallows over the fire. Missus kicking back.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's probably my most memorable trips. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's I think that's what it's all about at the end of the day, and what we're both doing is just getting out, and lucky enough that we can get out and show off some of the epic places that we have in our backyard. And I think over the next couple of years, there's going to be a lot more people out there chasing these spots now with the whole COVID thing. Your old Bremer Bay might not be as quiet as it used to be. What are you thinking in the next couple of years with less probably overseas travel?
Look, I think it's going to be awesome for WA tourism. And let's be honest, most people with four-wheel drive don't take them off-road. And the ones that are, see, all these people that normally go overseas for their holiday, they're going to invest into caravans. They're going to hire cabins. They're going to get scenic flights. They're going to do those kind of things. But, of course, it will increase a little bit. But a lot of people, some of these places that are epic, they're actually really hard to get to. Like, you got to put the effort in. You got to know where it is, and this is WA. Like, you have to know, and so I think it will definitely increase, but it won't be as bad as like what we think.
Maybe not in WA, because you're a little bit more vast than we are over here. Like, I wish it wasn't so far away. I am absolutely dying to get to bloody WA, and mate, we might have to.
That's why it's good though.
Yeah, exactly. So we might have to do a deal next year. I might have to come over and just leave my truck at your house and fly back and forwards, because I want to explore more of WA. I've done a reasonable amount of Queensland and scraped the surface of sort of Northern Territory and a little bit through the centre. But yeah, WA, mate, I'm dying to get out there.
I reckon you just need to bounce your vehicle between Nab's house and my place, and then you'll have most of WA covered.
100%. That'd be a
lot bloody cheaper for you too.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I was supposed to be driving the new vehicle, the new 79 build that I'm doing. I was supposed to be driving that over to Adelaide for the Adelaide show, and then round to Perth. Obviously, that's not going to happen anymore, and at the moment, it's even up in the air whether the full drive shows will go ahead. I'm not sure what your thoughts are on that with the WA ones. I know that the Brisbane show is not looking good. Nothing's confirmed. Don't jump down my throat, but at the moment, it's not looking good to even have a Brisbane full drive show this year.
Pardon me. Yeah, so I don't know. Look, your Brisbane show might still go ahead because I don't really know the situation. I don't know what other shows you have there, but I believe that the Sydney show is a bit touch and go. Because I think it might happen, but because we're looking really good at the moment, but you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's in September, so it's on the fringe. But I reckon that the Adelaide show will go ahead. I reckon the Perth show will go ahead, but it just depends on what the government does. It's kind of, we're just not going to know. But I think October and November, if I was a betting man, I would put a wager on it if the odds were good,
Well, I'll put it this way. The Brisbane show was supposed to be the 20th of November.
I was supposed to be there too.
Oh, were you? Coming over?
Well, yeah, I was coming over just to suss it out. I wasn't invited. I was just coming over to suss it out. I was going to film a modified on Jamie's Defender. Canter.
Yeah, he's Canter.
And then,
that thing's cool.
Yeah, the big beast. So had to cancel everything and just stay in Perth, unfortunately. But
mate,
we got to do what we got to do.
If it is on and the borders are open, you're well and truly invited to come and spend a day at the Explore Life tent and bring over a bit of merch if you want and hang out. If it's on, I will have Yourmates there with a beer trailer. So if you wanna throw a little marquee up with some merch and just gym in, mate, then let me know.
Mate, I appreciate the offer. Yeah, we'll just see when and where.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. I'm not crossing my fingers for that at all. All right, so
No.
favorite trip was hard. This one will be even harder. What's your favorite campsite of all time?
Cool. Okay. That one. Ooh, okay. Can I pick a sand in that bush? Can I
All
pick
right,
two?
yeah, I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Yeah.
All right. So Twilight Cove in Western Australia, absolutely awesome. That's the only tag along I do. That's where it ends up. You got this big red cliff behind you, depending on the time of the day with the sun.
Yeah.
White, squeaky sand beaches and crystal clear blue water with humpback whales and dolphins and all kinds of stuff in it. It's wicked, and it's a fun drive to get there.
Yeah.
Inland, Pilbara, running waters.
Pilbara.
25-degree water. It doesn't matter if it's 0 degrees, the water is 25 degrees all year round. It's a spring. Wicked. Yeah.
All right. That I'll have to put both of them on my bucket list. I know we've briefly chat about that. What was the name of the first one you said, sorry?
Twilight Cove.
Twilight Cove. We've briefly spoke about that and the fact that, if I was going to do a trip, I'm going to try and get you to take me down there, but we'll see what happens. We are getting on time here. I knew we'd go long in our podcast, but I'm going to jump over real quick to Instagram because even though I only put it up a couple of hours ago, we have been smashed with questions. So I'm going to rapid fire these at you. And
sure. I'll do my best.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. So, all right, there is absolutely heaps. I'll try and skim through them here. But when are you going to... All right, so I better mention some names here. But Guy Matteo, when are you going to do an East Coast / Cape York trip?
For maybe 2021, 2022, hopefully. Yeah, it's a long way.
It is a long way, yeah. It's like me trying to get to WA. That's for damn sure. It's a bloody long way. Oh, this is a good one. Geordie_Australia. I haven't read these either, mate, so I'm just going to pump through them, and some of them get interesting. Normally, I have to skip a few from previous chats because they get a little bit wild. But if you had to own an IFS 4-wheel drive, what would it be?
Hilux.
Hilux. I thought you might have almost snuck in another bloody Ford badge there. I'm glad you didn't, but...
no.
I'm
done with Ford.
Done with Ford. All right, what do we got here? That's a bit of a... that's a tough one. Chris Matter. Best place to find the good, bad, and ugly on suspension upgrades for beginners. You probably have a video on suspension, surely.
Yeah, I've got a few videos. Yeah, it's that's a tough one. It all depends on price and stuff. That needs a whole video on its own.
Yeah, suspension's all over the place. But jump over to his YouTube. Ronnie would definitely have a video on the differences of suspension.
To answer it quick, if you have a brand new vehicle, do not go out and just buy cheap suspension just for a lift, because the manufacturer's suspension you have in your vehicle is actually pretty good. So if you're going to raise it, get something that's worth something.
So then we got Mr. Lukey _101_15. We've touched on favorite trip, favorite campsite, but do you have a favorite track? Specifically a favorite four-wheel drive track.
Favorite track. Okay, that'll have to be along the backs of the cliffs, I reckon. Like just that drive from Israelite Bay to Twilight Cove. That drive is it gets you everything. Salt lakes, flooded salt lakes, great for your car. You get rocky stuff, you get red dirt, you get white sand, you get sand, some of the biggest sand dunes. You get everything. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. All right, there you go. Finch Touring. Is Yourmates beer better than Emu Export?
Oh, hell yeah. Yes. Emu Export, mate, like...
There you go. There's a little plug for Yourmates. Cheers. And by the way, not a paid sponsor. Legends on the Sunshine Coast. Well, they will deliver to your door. So jump on their website and order yourself a box. You'll thank me. Oh, I did see one here. All right. We didn't even get time to spend much chat on your Land Cruiser, but next 4x4 build. Is there another one in the pipeline? If there's not, and we burnt your Land Cruiser to the ground tomorrow, what would be your next 4-wheel drive build?
Okay, so after 2 weeks of mourning, I don't know. I don't know. I was going to build a Hilux, but I invested into this unit because, I actually bought this unit.
Yeah.
Well, it's on a mortgage, so mortgage is back up there. Look, 300 series, without even knowing what it is.
Now, look, there is a question on here about the 300 series that I seen before I came in. My God, there's a lot of questions here, and I'm probably not going to find it. But I don't keep up with it, to be honest. But have they released what the new motor in the 300 series is going to be? I believe when I looked earlier, they said it's going to be a V6. Do you know if that's been confirmed?
So there's a guy in Japan. There's one guy in Japan who knows what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I have a feeling that there will be two options. I have a feeling there'll be a hybrid petrol, and I have a feeling that there might be a diesel option, possibly a V6. I don't think it'll be a V8, but
no, I don't think so.
Look, I know when the release date is, but non-disclosure agreement because I got it through a good source I don't want to burn.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. So 300 series is what you'd consider.
Without even seeing it. It's just something new. It's fresh. I feel the 79 is done to death.
Yes, sir.
I don't like. For me to build another one would be a bit crazy because I'm happy with what I got.
You've already got one, right?
Well, I'll build it exactly the same as what I got. You know.
Well, there's no. If you were to buy a new one, you pick up cruise control, a shitty DPF, and what else do you get?
Two things I don't want. Cruise control and DPF.
You don't want cruise control? I'm not mad about having cruise control. Now, look, I'm building another one before they do die. Well, not another one. I'm building one before they die. I know they've been done to death. I've copped an absolute hiding for building a 79 because they have been done to death. I don't care. It's what I want. And the poor old 76...
But you know what?
What's that?
It's your choice. It's your choice. 100%. It's your car.
Yeah. There's no 300 yet. The 300 will be too flash for me. The 200 was too flash for me, and the 76 we just ran out of. I ran out of room, and I want something a little bit bigger. But anyway, we won't get into that conversation.
Can I just say something else to this conversation?
Go nuts! You can say whatever you like on my podcast.
If you don't have a 79, everyone needs a 79. So you don't have a 79, you need a 79.
100%.
But never get rid of it. I'm not getting rid of mine. Like if I do get a 300 or something else, or a Hilux or whatever, I'm going to use both vehicles. Yeah,
mate. I didn't even want to get rid of the 76, to be honest. And look, financially, I just don't have a choice. The 76 has to go. I'm sure as hell not bloody made of money. So, but I love my 76. Like I love the 76. It's just. About every 3 years, I build a new truck. I get bored quite easily, and there's no way in hell I'm going to build another 76, right? There's no difference. Just like you wouldn't build another 79. So I had to go something a little bit different. I couldn't go too far from home. But we've got a few more questions to get through. There is a lot. I'm going to have to skip a few here. I'm going to have to skip a lot. But will Ronnie be leaving the Toyota family? It sounds like absolutely not.
Look, don't rule it out. Never rule anything out. But,
Great Wall might bring out an absolute perler.
Oh, mate, it's like Great Wall. Yeah, I'll get to use my EPIRB if I get a Great Wall.
Well, wait, let's touch on it real quick. I know you got a couple of bloody dirty Jeeps sat out the back of one of your houses or properties somewhere. Tell us about the Jeeps you got going on.
Oh, mate, the XJ Jeep, budget 4-wheel drive, the 4-litre petrol XJ Jeep. You cannot go wrong. Those things are tough as nails. There's lots of stuff that I'll never throw on YouTube.
Yep.
That we put these vehicles through, and man, they are super tough.
That's cool. Yeah.
So
that's one thing I want to get into. I know I'm building, my dream truck, but I want to grab a couple of. We've spoke about this. I'd love to do, and I spoke to Sam about it. $5,000 build off. It's a little bit harder because you're on the other side of the world, but it would be great to do a cheap build off. You've already got the truck essentially to be involved. I don't know how. Maybe we just have to meet in the middle of Australia. I don't know, but there is a question here from Graphite79. Will you guys ever film a trip together? I think the answer is yes. It's just a matter of timing and where.
Matter of when and where. Yeah, it's a matter of when and where.
Yeah, we definitely will put something together.
And right now it's COVID-19 and it sucks. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there'll be nothing happening anytime soon, but we have spoke about a few different ideas. Nothing that we're going to let out of the bag until it's more concrete, but we will definitely get something sorted soon. Now, look, mate, I'm going to throw this one in here. There's a few people asking, is Wayne on your content anymore?
Content-wise, no, Wayne is not part of the channel anymore. He is still doing conducting tag-along tours and training under the four-wheeling banner, but no longer in the actual videos. The reasons are private, and for both parties, it's not the public's business. So I choose to, it's like anyone else. So
no, that answers it.
That's just how it is.
So he's still under the four-wheeling banner doing bits and pieces, but he's not on the series. They got asked a lot, so I thought I'd throw it in there. We've got another question here. Oh, that's a dumb question. Everyone asks this, how much have you spent on your cruiser all up? Let me give you a red-hot tip with everyone that owns a Land Cruiser. We do not keep track. You may, I don't know, I might be the only one, but there's no way you know how much you spent. No. And you don't want to know how much you've spent.
No.
No one tracks that.
You probably can't see it, but I've emptied my pockets out. That's how much I've spent.
What do we got here? How do you keep photography on your mind with shots and timing when out full driving?
And timing?
I think maybe what he's trying to ask is like, while we're out full driving, how do you constantly perhaps know what shots to get while you're on the run?
So you're building the story. I'm building the story in my head. So I'm editing as I'm driving, as I'm doing everything. I never listen to music while I'm out there, except for if I'm having a bit of a break from thinking, then I'll play music. But otherwise, I'm just constantly storyboarding. I'm just thinking about, stuff and whatnot. So it just happens. And then in editing, that's where the magic happens. So there's a lot of footage that never gets used, but, you just take the best of what you got and what fits to the story. So it's a hard one. It's just something I do.
And I think the cool thing with the way that you film and I film, we film very organically. There's other shows out there that obviously storyboard it and they go out chasing specific shots. And I know the shots from watching content are all over the place. They're not in the same location. And there's a little bit of film trickery. Whereas I think me and you, we film very chronological and you go with the story. So if someone decides to jump off a cliff and land on their bloody ass and have a sook, Harry. I mean, you did break a couple of bones in your back, whatever, but you go with the story, right? And I that's the content I like watching when it's, you go with the flow and you're a part of the story.
Yeah, totally. So for those who think that Harry jumped off on purpose for content, far out, man.
No one bloody breaks their back for content. Let me tell you.
No.
This is a cool question. What is the most remote place you've ever gone? From D Hurls.
From where?
Oh, that's just the Instagram guy. What's the most remote place you've ever gone?
Most remote place I've ever gone. I'd have to say it'll be somewhere out in the Pilbara. The Pilbara's got to be the most remote place in the country, I'd say. Or maybe the Ambler Highway, actually, just before the South Australian border. That's pretty damn remote.
Yeah.
So remote can be two different things. It can be distance from, like a physical distance from a town or a person, or it could be the difficulty of getting to somewhere. So
Yeah,
I would
so
say
true.
the Pilbara, or even down Baxter Cliffway. That's pretty darn remote. You're not
Yeah.
walking out of there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I don't know what your opinion is, but I love the more remote you get. I guess because it's the more remote you get, obviously the less travelled it is, the more excited I get. When we went out to
Totally.
Lorella Springs, and obviously Lorella gets a reasonable amount of traffic, but then when you travel out to the coast of Lorella, where it's 4 hours from the homestead to get there, and then we jumped in a tinny and went another 2 hours up the creek system and camped right on the coast in Swags. The further away from, I guess it's the harder it is to get there, and the less people that get there, the more excited I get.
Yeah, totally agree. It's like when you travel some stretches of WA, and the track's just been reopened,
Yeah,
and you know you're the only one out there. That is absolutely epic. And the only way to increase that is to be there on your own, like completely on your own.
full
And
solo.
you really appreciate remoteness then.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I spent a couple of weeks with Just Tiff. Me and the ex were cruising through the centre of Northern Territory, and we were running on some tracks that were extremely remote, and it is, well, not extremely remote, but highly undriven. And, when you get to go a day and a half without seeing anyone, you do start to appreciate it a little bit more. And I think we have the same sort of, I'm going to call it a problem, where when you're on a track and you see a track and you don't know where that track goes and it's not on a map, like, you want to go for a look. You never know where it might go.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it.
And another thing is to just sometimes just stop. So say if you're stopping for a number one break or whatever, just have a look around. You never know what you find.
Yeah.
Sometimes you find railway spikes and all kinds of interesting stuff,
Yeah. 100%.
Especially
Old history.
Yeah, especially out in the goldfields, there's heaps of stuff out there.
Yeah. So we got another question here. Would you ever get a toy hauler from Patriot Campers?
I would never buy one because I don't have a purpose for it. But I would definitely tow one for a trip. Yeah, I'll definitely give that a go, but I need to have the toys to put on it. So
yeah,
that's probably why I would never buy one, because I got no bloody toys to put on it. If I had toys to put on it, then I'd be cashed up, and then I'd have somewhere to put it, and then why not? But let's be honest. If you are going to have a toy hauler, you're going to buy a toy hauler, you're obviously cashed up and you can afford it. If I had that money available, I'd be putting it into this unit or getting that other car.
Yeah.
So,
well, look, because of the way my content's starting to go, I am going to definitely do a toy hauler. Excuse me. I don't know which direction or who's going to do it yet. It's not going to be like a Patriot Campers style toy hauler for what I want. That's too big. And when you say cashed up toys, I got a $3,000 bloody old WR, but I want to be able to throw a couple of dirt bikes or maybe a quad and a tinny on the roof, and when we get to the locations, it allows me to bring that lifestyle aspect into our content. So that's something that I want to do. It was going to be this year. I'd still like to get it done this year, something to go behind the 79. It's not something that we're going to use every trip, but I definitely want some sort of toy hauler. It will be very basic. It's not going to be a camper and a toy hauler. It may have a rooftop tent on it if I can get creative and somehow have the rooftop tent and a tinny. But something single axle, you know what it's like when we try and go the places we want to go. You can't be towing a bloody 7 meter long trailer. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, in a lot of places, like it probably wouldn't happen, no. Or
well, put it this way,
you'll be stuck in some ties.
Yeah, well, even put it this way, Lane, we had him on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he tows a bloody nimble, amazing off-road trailer, and he gets the shits with me because I'll just turn off down a track and be like, we'll see where it goes. And it never goes anywhere. You have to do a bloody U-turn. So you're not doing a U-turn with a 7-meter toy hauler on. I don't even know what you would do in that sort of circumstance. So I don't want to limit myself too much by towing a toy hauler, but I do want to be able to, with certain destinations like Five Rocks, if you ever come over and you end up running up towards the Cape, I will make sure you go to Five Rocks. And, you know, to pull up onto the beach there, one, you can't drag a big trailer in there because there's a massive sand hill climb to even get up there. And then two, you're on the beach. But just to have that tinny and perhaps bring a quad or a motorbike definitely is something that's really starting to interest me.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing as well. So to warrant a toy hauler, I'll go back on my comment where I said cashed up. Don't necessarily have to be cashed up. Like, like for example, if you're into Razors or Polarises or whatever it is, if you're into that kind of stuff, then you are going to have a toy hauler to tow it out because it's your toys. It's a toy hauler. You take it to your destination. That's what you do. It's like prospectors. They will tow a massive trailer. They'll spend thousands of dollars on their metal detectors. That's what they do. It's like fishermen. They'll have a boat. They'll put their money into a boat instead of a toy hauler, and they'll have like $1,000 fishing rods. Where someone like myself, be a $30 Kmart rod, but I'll spend a crap load of money on my vehicle because I live out of it. So
no, that's it. It depends what you're into, and you know, everything just there's no perfect setup to do every aspect. You just got to pick and choose for each trip, I think, individually, and that's why we're going to try and come up with something for when the trip suits to be able to take a couple of dirt bikes and a tinny out. We've got a question here, and I get asked this a lot, and maybe we could try and collab on this, just thinking out loud. But Andy underscore the farmer, you good?
Yeah, I've got 20% left on my phone.
No,
we should be good.
We're wrapping it up.
We're good, but we got 20% left.
No, that's all right. So he said, when are you going to go to New Zealand? Is that something that interests you?
Yeah, New Zealand, snow, mountains. I love snow and mountains. Yes, but before New Zealand's doable because it's so close. But my bucket list place would be Iceland or Alaska. Those two places.
That's pretty gangster.
That's my bucket. Yeah. Look, I could always say to CSR or other places in the Kimberley or Cape York and stuff, but it's reachable. So to me, if it's reachable, it's not a bucket list.
Yeah.
Things that are going to require a lot of money and a lot of effort, that's a bucket list for me. So Iceland.
Well, look, before COVID hit this year, we were doing a month or just shy of a month in America, which was all based around the Expo West trip. And then I also had a sneaky trip planned to South Africa to head over there and to do a trip, which I'm definitely going to do at some point. I don't know when anymore, but that has always been a bit of a bucket list trip for me to get over to South Africa because that does take a hell of a lot of planning and it is a completely different country to sort of what we're used to.
And half the problem is getting a vehicle for the trip.
Oh yeah,
that's the main thing.
You're not shipping your vehicle over there. That's for damn sure. You're up for about 20 odd K because I did look into it. But
and it's the downtime as well.
Oh, crazy! All right, well look, I'll finish on one last question. What's next on the 79 series for you?
Well, I've just upgraded the radios, which has been a long time coming. I've had a real crappy radio in there, which I'm glad to get out. Me and Torbs have just finished recording that the other day. It's coming up this Sunday. It'll be out before this is up.
Yeah.
Interior, bit of an interior overhaul is something I always wanted to do.
Yep.
After seeing Justin from Patriot, his 6x6, after seeing his interior,
it's epic.
I've always wanted to update my interior and sort of make it, you know, have like some holders on the side to hold these kind of things, you know, and you know, like door skins and the center console, set it up for what I want for my purpose. That is probably what's going to happen next to the car.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it. Then I'll be looking at it, probably trying to do another build maybe.
Yeah.
And then sort of balance the cars out on trips.
Well, that's probably my next question to trying to wrap it up is like, what else is coming from the channel? Obviously, with everything that's going on at the moment, it's probably a little bit hard to probably determine. But what can we look out for next? And then to top that off, what's coming out at the moment that people should get ready for?
Okay, so the UHF radio install and tips at the same time. It's a bit of a hybrid video. It's like it's something new. It's something I'm quite proud of producing with Torben. So that I'm hanging to see how it goes, because ultimately the viewers are the judge of these kind of things. Yeah. The Bremer Bay trip we did, the first trip we did in 2020 before we even knew this COVID was going to do what it did. Yeah. That I'm still actually editing because of COVID-19. I've been a bit, a little bit less motivated in getting that out, because I'm trying to see what's going on. But now I wish I did, because now I'm making content to try and buy myself time to edit it. Yeah. So, and a lot of effort goes into that, and I'm a bit restricted where I can go. But apart from that, we're waiting for intra borders to open, and then me and Torb is going to plan trips in the studio pretty soon. Awesome. We're going to start looking at where we can actually go. There's been a lot of rain, so the Canning Stock route's still going to be closed, unfortunately, even if they open it. Yeah. But yeah, we're working on trips
as always.
Plenty coming up. We just don't know where yet.
Yeah.
Look yourself, mate, you don't know where yet.
Nah, no idea yet. Hopefully we get to catch up at a full drive show somewhere towards the end of the year, and have a couple of beers would be good, and maybe plan a trip at some point together would be absolutely unreal. But look, mate, thanks very much for taking the time out to come on Explore Yarns. Really appreciate it, all the way from WA. I think
mate. Thanks for having me.
Not a drama. I think a lot of people will get a fair bit out of this, and there's a lot of YouTubers that obviously have been following you for a long time. Now, look, if any of you guys aren't following Ronnie already, I will list all of his links below. So get over there and check out his YouTube channel. I'll put his Instagram, his website, and I'll throw his Patreon link in there as well, for any of you guys that have been long-time followers that might want to go and check that out and support Ronnie in his endeavour to sleep 5 hours a night and just bring you guys a bucket load of content. But no, mate, cheers, I really do appreciate it, and a bit of an inspiration for myself as well to pursue that YouTube path and get our subscribers up there. But once again, mate, thanks very much for coming on.
No worries at all, man. Thanks for having me on, and take it easy over there, everyone else watching. Take it easy during COVID-19, and hopefully we'll all be out there soon.
Happy days. All right, guys. Well, there you go. That's a wrap on another episode of Explore Yarns. I hope you've enjoyed this. Like I said, Ronnie's links will be below. Get over and grab yourself a box of Yourmates if you're thirsty. And we'll see you next week on Explore Yarns. Cheers.